In this video, we're gonna modify the stock Airbox and make it like an F-Sport. Hello and welcome to Marty Motoring. Today we're going to take this stock Airbox, it's just a cheap one off eBay, drill a hole in it to make it sound like the F-Sport box and put it on my Lexus IS 350. Now I actually already did this mod to the Airbox that's in there. Of course the plastic is brittle, and rather than take it out and show you and just have like an old one, I figured why not start fresh with this one. I can show you how to drill it, install it, and I'll have a nice one with my decal on it that's all clean. Now this is just like a stock replica of eBay. It's got all the same ports and everything for the MAF sensor and this little hole that comes in from the grill intake. Everything's the same, just cheap plastic. I think this was about $40 or so shipped, so not too bad. I got my decal on there, of course, because it pops and while it's fresh and clean, because the engine bay does get pretty dirty. So next we're gonna drill a hole in here, and that will get the induction sound and the F-Sport box sound. When you order the F-Sport intake box, you get the tube, the filter, and the bottom part of the box. And it actually has like a hole here in the front, kind of where behind the headlight would be, and that gives you that induction sound. So if you just drill the hole yourself, you get the same sound. Now it is okay to do this only because the air filter sits here, so the air is still passing through the filter and it's not gonna ruin anything, not gonna throw any codes because you still have your mass airflow sensor here. This is just something I read on one of the forums and I decided to do back when one of the first mods I did on the car. And I've just been running with it ever since, and honestly it sounds really cool. So yeah, now that we have this fresh one, we can drill it and install it. So we got my brother's ISF here and my IS 350. So we're gonna pull it up and get started. As I've shown in previous videos, I have the RR Racing carbon fiber intake tube, and here's my stock Airbox, and the Megan Racing strut tower brace. And recently we also installed a new PCV valve, so you can check that video out as well. And we cleaned up the throttle body. So this Airbox is gonna go in place just like this, as you can see, and we'll be using my cordless drill, and hopefully that works. So I'm gonna have to transfer over the MAF sensor, which if you're installing a new Airbox, you'll have to do that. But if you're just drilling the hole, you don't really need to do that. But you will need to take this piece out. Filter. And if we look at the Airbox that's already out, we see there's a bolt here and a bolt here. And this just kind of sits in there. I found the 10mm socket. That's all that seems to go missing. You definitely want to get the longest extension you can, just because of this one. Just because this one's a little tricky to get to. And we got this one. It also helps to take off the little like intake duct here. We will put that here. Pull this off. This will come right out. And that goes down in the little rubber grommet. But first we need to drill it before we put it back in, so let's do that. I know the ISF is pretty distracting, but you do want to watch when you're doing this just to be safe. I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough power, but we should see here. I'm going to hold it here so that if it goes through, it's not going to hurt my finger. And just like that, we have an induction hole. You can make it bigger. I think that should be good. Of course, the next step is to just make sure there's no plastic residue in your intake. Like I said, you could make this bigger. I'm just gonna stick with this one for now. And now I have two Airboxes to work with, so. All right, for reinstallation, you just wanna line up the peg here with that rubber grommet. Just so you know everything's lined up, and then the two bolt holes line up as well. I'm going to go ahead and do the bottom one first. Nice and tight. Next, I'm going to put this back on. Just kind of fits in this hole here, and then it gets bolted up here. Put our filter back in, and our new top. So the last part for me is to swap over this map sensor, and we are good to go. So that wraps up the modification to the Airbox. It's pretty simple. You take it out, you drill it, you put it back in. That's it. But now let's see how it sounds. So just in this test drive alone, I found that with the older box I had, the hole was bigger and there was way more induction sound and more of like a rasp from 3,000 to 4,000 RPM. With making this 1-inch hole, it's not as noticeable. It's a lot more subtle. There isn't as much of a growl intake noise. The smaller hole does do something, but if you can make it a little bit bigger or maybe square it off, you might get a different sound. So something to experiment with and think about. I actually kind of like the old setup better, so maybe I'll end up changing this one. That's just something I noticed and wanted to mention. So if you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and support the channel and future videos. And as always, leave a little rubber on the road.